Well, I just got back from NAB and I'm going to distill the hundreds of camera gear and tech products that I found at this event into a top 10 list for you guys to hopefully save you time and money. So grab a little snack and maybe some Fuji juice, wink wink, and strap in because some of the gear towards the end of this video is incredibly spicy and exciting, and I'm not just exaggerating. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's still very cool. This video is sponsored by Sennheiser. Let's start things off with some Blackmagic. So item number 1 is the Blackmagic PYXIS 12K. Yes, you heard that right. They're bringing the Ursa 12K's sensor into the PYXIS body for a steroids version of the PYXIS camera, I guess. In the Ursa 12K, it has faster processing, higher frame rates, better readout speeds, and I'm just hoping, I don't know for sure yet, I'm hoping that this PYXIS 12K gets those benefits as well. And obviously, it's going to have much higher resolutions. And if you're one of those people that maybe thinks, why would we need that many Ks? Well, most people don't, but there are specific types of workflows like VFX and something called projection mapping that require tons of resolution. I actually know a guy who does projection mapping full time, and 12 to 17K is what they need. So a camera like this that's actually relatively affordable is gonna be awesome for people out there with those specific use cases. Item number 2 is gonna be a sleeper for most of you, but I'm incredibly excited about it, so hey, it's on the list. This is the 7 Artisans 35mm 1.4 Mark III lens. And right now I'm shooting on the Mark II. This has been kind of my daily dad lens. It's L mount, full frame, incredibly compact, and all manual. In my Lumix S9 review, I mentioned that this is one of my favorite lenses out there, but it was discontinued, and that's probably because they were making this Mark III version. Why do I love this lens? Well, it has flares, amazing character, but still sharp. It's all manual, which means it's small and it's affordable. And I just love how the image looks. I don't know how else to say it. I just feel like this lens has a little bit of magic to it. That's why I'm putting it on for this video, so you can kind of see what the older version looks like. I would say don't sleep on this brand. They also have some really cool cine lenses coming out. We tested out the brand new Infinite series on my S1R Mark II. There's gonna be more test footage of that in my other NAB video, so make sure to watch that one as well. Item number 3 is Hohem's AI Gimbal tracking technology. And yes, I know AI is absolutely a overused BS marketing buzzword for the most part, but I actually worked with Hohem earlier this year on a campaign to test out their mobile iSteady M7 gimbal, and I was blown away at how good the AI tracking is on that gimbal. And apparently they're moving that technology over to a mirrorless camera gimbal that can hold cameras up to like 5-ish pounds, I believe. And the guy there was showing us how you can literally use hand gestures to set up frames. You can set up a gesture and then adjust your head in frame so it's on a third, and then lock it again, and then it will follow you on that third. Pretty insane. And it also looks like they had some sort of focusing technology for manual lenses on there as well. I wasn't able to test that. I don't know if it's any good, but how cool would it be to have a competitor to the DJI LiDAR system, which is kind of big and bulky. So we'll have to get hands-on with this stuff when it comes out. Item number 4 is Sennheiser and their lavalier kit that I used to create this entire video and capture audio on the noisy NAB floor. Then I just put it right in the middle of my chesticles. So yeah, that's where you want your mic placement, guys. Look how tiny this pack is and lightweight. You can put a magnet on it if you want to just use the microphone on here and clip it on your shirt like a influencer. Does internal recording as well, and it has a locking thread. All right, folks, we're going to the Sennheiser booth for my meeting since they're sponsoring this video. Everyone go follow Zach's band right now. Super Taste, my dream mic.
Yeah. 15% off for April, so go check that out.
The lavalier pack that I wore is incredibly compact, and there's a firmware update coming in Q2 that will give it internal 32-bit recording. If you take the 2 lavalier packs and click them into the charging case, it becomes a stereo microphone that you can use as a handheld mic. There's a coffee machine and people blasting noise all around me, so we're gonna see how good this sounds. Might spice it with a little noise isolation for the boys and girls of America. So if you're looking for a nice mic or lavalier pack, check out the Sennheiser links in the description. Thank you to them for sponsoring this portion of the video. Now let's move on to number 5, which is the Nisi JetMag Pro new variable ND filter. I am actually so stoked about this because I have been looking for the perfect magnetic compact VND filter setup for quite a while now. I just went over there to talk to them at NAB and noticed that they have a VND filter now because I have the JetMag Pro and I use it, but I've always wanted a VND for it instead of just hard stop NDs, and it doesn't have mist baked in. I know some people like that, but for me, I'd rather choose if I want diffusion, and lately I really haven't been using diffusion as much. Now this kit is not cheap, but it's very good quality. I'm excited to test it out once it comes out. So hey, Nisi, hook your boy up. Item number 6 is a frickin' sweet Fuji Juice camera. It's the GFX Eterna, which isn't new news, but there are new development updates for it that we saw at NAB. The first update we got is that it will have electronically controlled VNDs internally from 2 to 7 stops. It's also gonna have XLR inputs via the hot shoe mount, which is kind of goofy. I wish it just had XLRs. But apparently with the hot shoe, you can connect a Tascam recorder to get XLR recording, which just seems like they're fulfilling some sort of obligation with Tascam instead of just making the camera good. But there are internal scratch mics, and you can plug in an 1/8 inch jack mic as well. And if mic's not jacked, I don't know what you're doing. That's good Fuji juice. The Eterna also has CF Express Type B and an SD card slot. It has Frame IO camera to cloud, which I don't give a rip about, but I'm sure some people do. And one really cool thing is it has an internal battery slot for the GFX type battery. So if you're powering this thing with V-mount and your power goes out, or wall power and the power dies, if you have a GFX battery in the camera, it will switch to that so that you don't lose all your footage and your camera doesn't die. You can also solo power the camera with just that GFX battery, but apparently the camera will be limited in that capacity. So at the very least, you can just always keep a GFX battery in there. And when you have an external battery on the camera as well, it will charge that internal battery. So that's actually a pretty dope little feature. And last but not least with this camera, it does have the G mount that the GFX cameras share, which means it's gonna have autofocus with compatible GFX autofocus lenses. There was a switch on the camera that says AF. That's kind of fun. And from my GFX review last year, that camera also had pretty good autofocus. So who knows, maybe this will be a pretty sweet solo operator cinema camera with the juice. Items number 7 is live streaming cameras from 2 brands. I have not tested either of these, but Hollyland has some live streaming cameras, and I didn't even know they made cameras until I saw them at NAB. They shoot 4K 30, have autofocus, a 6x zoom, and honestly, they look like cheapy plastic cameras, but I feel like for just a stationary live stream setup, it'll probably get the job done. I would love to test these out, so Hollyland, hook me up. They are $949 each though, which seems kind of buck wild. So I have no idea if they're good. But OBSBOT has a camera called the Tail 2, which is even more expensive. It's $1199, but it has the ability to track you in real time and optically zoom in. And one thing that's really cool about the OBSBOT is if you want to switch from filming horizontal to vertical, it physically moves the sensor to vertical so that you're not losing any resolution. Whereas a camera like the DJI Pocket 3, when you switch that to filming vertical, it just cuts the recording off of the sensor so you get less resolution. How cool is it that the sensor just goes, whoop, you get the whole thing. It's pretty nice. It does seem to be way better built than the Hollylands. Again, I didn't get to use any of these cameras, but just looking at it and seeing the materials, the OBSBOT looked way more solid than the Hollyland. But for number 8, we have a very interesting custom item. It's my friend who owns XLCS Designs. He's making a custom Lumix S9 cage. So I'm hoping I can get some video and photo samples from him. He also sent me an Ursa cage that I tested out a while ago, and it's an absolute tank. His build quality is unbelievable, and the fact that he's just pulling this out basically by himself is so sick. The cage definitely has enough mounting points, and it doesn't inhibit the battery swapping door. It has locking sections for the HDMI and USB-C, and it just makes the Lumix S9 look like a little battle tank cinema camera. It looks sick, I don't know. So I wanted to shout him out because he came up to me at NAB and was like, dude, look at the cage I'm working on. And I just thought it looked awesome. I want one for my S9 when it comes out, and probably gonna get one and keep using that camera in my studio. Oh, these last 2 are freaking cool. So number 9 is the one and only lens on this entire planet called the Blazar Beetle. This is a brand new concept lens from them, one of one, and it's an anamorphic photography lens that has a front element that you can click a button in and rotate it so you can shoot anamorphic horizontal or vertical. And Connor and I may have taken this lens for a spin, popped our SD card into their camera, and gotten some of the world's first images with this lens. Just keep in mind, this is a prototype lens, so things are bound to change. It's a literal one of one, so we'll see what they come out with in a final update. Item number 10 is pretty insane. I didn't actually think I would ever say this in a YouTube video, but Blackmagic made autofocus.
All right, ladies, we're about to see Blackmagic Autofocus. I'm so stoked.
How's my mic sound? Sound pretty good?
Okay, so the cinema camera 6K full frame got a beta autofocus update, and I always get freaking torched in my videos for saying I wish Blackmagic had autofocus. Suck it, heifers. So you just swipe down like this and then swipe this way, and you get autofocus single, continuous, whatever the heck that is, and I guess face detect. But with continuous, you can tap on a subject. It's still a little bit weird. And then wherever that box is, when you move the camera, it focuses, but it's also a little hunty.
It's a beta unit. How could we possibly know without real tests? It seems slow, inconsistent. It seems like contrast-based autofocus. That's just my opinion based on what I got to see on the demo floor. Until I try it out for myself, who can really say?
Such a cool feature, even just like as a little assistant tool. It's gonna be so nice. I have this camera at home and I haven't been using it because I work alone most of the time, but now I can actually consider using this more frequently in my studio. I'm just so pumped, and this has the exact same sensor that's in the PYXIS 6K, so I'm sure that camera will get autofocus as well.
And hopefully this means that autofocus will trickle into their future camera updates. And at the very least, I think autofocus is just a useful tool. I have friends who are amazing full-time DPs who are starting to use FX6s and FX3s for their solo stuff because the autofocus is so reliable for interviews and stuff. And their images look incredible. But guess what? When you're working with a team, you don't have to use autofocus. You can use manual lenses, anamorphic. You can do what you want. Don't gatekeep though. Anyway, text me when you get home so I know you're safe, and please watch out for deer. There were 7 at NAB. I killed them all. Support on Patreon and Discord to get your names at the end of the videos, free digital assets for life, and entry into monthly gear giveaways. And remember that you guys are loved far more than you might even know. God bless you guys, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.